Hey everyone, and welcome to a new OpenRCT2 Release video. OpenRCT2 version 0.4.20 has been released, and the developers have named it the Twin Peaks of Kilimanjaro.
I'm leading this expedition, and we're going to climb both peaks of Mount Kilimanjaro.
Alright, there have been a lot of changes in this release, so I hope you're comfortable, and let's go through the most exciting of these changes. Alright, first off there's some new track pieces. Now here you can see a hybrid coaster and a single rail coaster, and for these coaster types we could already build sloped brakes, as you can see here. But some new track pieces have been added. We can now also build sloped brakes diagonally. So here I have some diagonal single rail coaster track. Here you can see the sloped brake sprites that are diagonal, and here you can see the same for the hybrid coaster. And who knows, maybe we'll see this for other track types in the future as well. Alright, you may or may not be familiar with the cutaway view. It's an option you can find here under the eye icon. And with the cutaway view you can cut away certain sections of the park, for example from a certain height. So that's what you see me do here, and you can see the top of the castle now disappears. A new option has been added here, it's called see-through. Then instead of cutting it away completely, you can still see an outline of whatever is hidden. Yeah, it's a nice new option for the cutaway view. Alright, here I have a wooden roller coaster. Now if you want to recolor your rides, you actually have several color schemes to choose from. And for example, if I paint this front part of the coaster red now, alternative color scheme 1, it used to be that if you then continued building the ride, it would automatically still use the main color scheme. And that has now been changed. So if you paint a piece in an alternate color scheme and then you continue building from it, all the following track pieces will also inherit this alternative color scheme, which I think is really nice. Alright, here's something which you may not know yet, but if you have a text input field like this, you can actually press Ctrl and C, and that will actually copy the text to clipboard, so then you can paste it somewhere else. But a new functionality has been added, and that you can also press Ctrl and X, and it will cut the text from the field. And then we could paste it here, for example, with Ctrl and V. So now this entertainer is called Like and Subscribe. Alright, next up, the save and load game windows have gotten a little overhaul. So there used to be buttons with text for different actions you could do in this screen, but those have been replaced by icons. So here we have a button to go to the folder that's above this one. Here's a button to make a new folder. This is the button to go to the default folder for parks. And this button takes you to the system file browser. If you're not sure what any of these icons do, just hover over it for a bit and then you can see what the buttons do in the tooltip. Alright, some scenarios have rides that cannot be destroyed. For example, here we have the scenario Haunted Harbor, and you cannot edit or remove the coaster Woodpecker. Now there's actually a cheat in OpenRCT2 that allows you to actually do that. So here you can see the cheat, it says All Destructible. So what this cheat previously allowed you to do is just to remove the ride, but you couldn't actually edit the ride. And now it has been changed so that you can actually edit the ride if you want. Okay, OpenRCT2 added some snowy weather types to the game. Now here in the bottom right you can see the icon for this snowy weather. Now there's different snowy weather types, we can see them here in the cheats for the weather. Here we can change the weather if you want. So there's snow, heavy snow and blizzard. Now previously these all used the same icon, but some new icons are now in use for the different weather types. So snow has this icon that you can already see here. Then there's heavy snow, you can see it's a darker cloud and some more snowflakes. And then finally there's blizzard, and it also adds some lightning to the icon. Now, other than these improvements, a lot of fixes have been done in this version of the game. Now, a very specific one was this one, where if a vehicle passed by a toilet, it would actually sometimes clip through other scenery that was nearby, and that has now been fixed in this version. Alright, the next issue that has been fixed is one that has been in the game since the original Roller Coaster Tycoon, and that's if you have a park entrance with a path right after it that slopes upward, some guests would actually fall right through the path and into the void. But that should now no longer happen, and all the guests who arrive at the park entrance should be able to make it into your park. Alright, the next issue that has been fixed is another one that has been in the game since the original Roller Coaster Tycoon, and that's that at these steep turns, these supports may glitch a bit, which you can actually see in this video. But that should now also no longer happen, and it should be a lot less flickery. Alright, next up there was a bug in OpenRCT2 with the chairlift stations. The normal stations would render fine, but if you use the themed entrance, like these wooden entrances, the station of the chairlift, or the default station of the chairlift, would actually be drawn right through the roof of the themed station. And this is what it looked like in vanilla RCT2. But now it should look the same as the bottom picture. Alright, here we have powered mine ride, and we have the mini roller coaster. Now these track types look a lot alike, but the powered coaster actually has another strip here in the middle. But for some angles, for the S-bend that moved to the right, there was actually this visual glitch where actually for this tile the powered mine ride actually uses the mini roller coaster track, which you can see here. The stripe here in the middle is missing. Now in the new release, this visual glitch has been fixed. Alright, and now back on the new release version. Here we have a ghost train, and something that was wrong was that the gentle flat to sloped piece would not be visible in a tunnel. But as you can see, we can now see this track piece again. Alright, here's another visual glitch. As you can see here we have a tunnel, and the clearance is not very high. And if we had a tunnel like this, then actually the track piece leading into the tunnel would not be visible. And this was actually another original bug. This was also in the original Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. But as you can see here, that has now been fixed, so the part inside the tunnel should now also draw properly. Okay, next up is another visual glitch. This one is with the mini golf. As you can see here we have some of these mini golf holes that are at a 90-degree curve. And these holes would actually glitch through the walls if they went underground. But that has now been fixed. As you can see, they no longer glitch through the walls. Alright, next up was another annoying visual glitch. If you build a steep to vertical transition with some tracks like the vertical drop coaster or the LSM Launched roller coaster, some scenery would actually sometimes draw in front of the track. And trust me, that can be pretty annoying when you're trying to build something nice. But as we can see here, this track piece no longer has this issue. And the wall will just draw behind this track piece, as it should. Alright, next up we have an issue with park entrances, where a part of the park entrance is underground. And when that happens, sometimes the park entrance buildings can glitch through the sides of the wall, as you may be able to see over here in this little video. But yeah, that has now been fixed, so the park entrance should no longer glitch through the walls if you build it partly underground. Okay, here you can see some junior coaster track from 4 different angles, and one element that the junior coasters have nowadays is these boosters with these booster wheels. And from 2 of the angles, these boosters would draw perfectly fine if we placed them underground. But from the 2 other angles, these track pieces would actually be invisible when placed underground. But now they should all draw properly again from every angle. Okay, next up there was an issue with how the supports for diagonal brakes track was drawn when the track was being built backwards from a specific viewing angle. So this bug was really very specific, but it has been fixed nonetheless. So for example, here you can see some of these supports for the brake track. As you can see, these supports are not exactly below the track, but they're shifted to the side here. And you can see the same for these supports over here. Okay, that has been fixed. So even when building backwards from this angle, the support should be drawn right below the track instead of to the side. Okay, the next one will be a little bit difficult to demonstrate because I don't have a newer version of OpenRCT2. But basically, if you save your game in a newer version of OpenRCT2 and then you try to load the game with an older version of OpenRCT2, then you would get this error message here saying load game failed to load, file contains invalid data. Now, when that happens, I always advise people to just upgrade their OpenRCT2 version to a newer version. But in the newest release, you should get a more descriptive message telling you what to do, instead of just telling you invalid data, which I think is a big help, and will definitely lead to less questions. Alright, here's another original bug that was fixed. So basically, if you build a wooden roller coaster track or a side friction coaster track right over diagonal track, as you can see here, some of the supports or tracks would build out of order. And as you can see here, these supports actually are drawing in front of the track here. This was a bug that was present in the original game, but in OpenRCT2 in the new release, that should have now been fixed. Alright, the next issue that was fixed was actually one that I reported to the developers. If you find any bugs in the game, please go to the OpenRCT2 GitHub page and make an issue report. It would really help out the developers to fix these bugs. Anyway, here you could see a Steeplechase track, and again in a very specific circumstance. So basically you need to have diagonal track, and it needed to be sloped or a slope transition. And then at the bottom of the support, it would show this little green square. Basically, what I believe happened is that the game tried to draw a footer for this track, but footers don't exist for the Steeplechase, so it would default to this little glitchy sprite. But in the new release of OpenRCT2, this bug should no longer be present. Alright, next up we have a visual glitch with how some of the tables in the game were drawn. And especially in some languages where some of the words are a little bit longer. This appears to be Polish, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, you can see some of the table headers actually have started overlapping here. But in the new release version of the game, this should have now been fixed. Okay, next up there was a glitch with the mine train coaster, and on these large banked turns. The vehicles could actually sometimes become invisible, or basically they would be drawn behind the track instead of on top of it. But yeah, these vehicles move pretty fast, so it may have been a little bit difficult to actually see it, but this should have now been fixed in the new release. Okay, here's another original bug that was fixed. Basically, if you build one of these large steep or horizontal to steep pieces underground, they would actually not be shown in the tunnel. But that has now been fixed. So now if you build a tunnel and you build one of these pieces underground, you should actually be able to see the track piece from outside. Okay, next up is another bug that has been in OpenRCT2 for quite a long time. And I actually noticed it when I went through some old parks. And I noticed a lot of the 3D signs with 2 lines actually had their text cut off. For example, here we have a text saying Church of Holy Shit, but here on the sign we can only see Church of Holy. Now this has now been fixed, so now the sign should show up like this again. So here you can see the full text displayed on the sign. Alright, and here's another small graphical bug that was fixed. Here you can see one of these sloped LSM Launched pieces. And as you can see, this track was slightly misaligned. You can see the track's actually a pixel too low, and that has now been fixed, so it should line up correctly with the track again. Alright, those were most of the changes that have been done in this release version. If you want to see all of them, I will leave a link to the changelog in the video description. There you can also see the ones that I didn't list in this video. There have been a lot of fixes in this release, especially lots of graphical ones. And yeah, I think the developers and all the contributors did a great job in this release, fixing a lot of these nasty bugs. Alright, that's going to be all for this video. If you enjoyed this video and you want me to make more of these whenever there's a new release, please like this video. I would love to hear in the comments what you think of this video. And if you want to see more of these videos, you can always subscribe to my channel. Alright, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you again in the next one. See you later.